Thank you, Chair, and let me say pleasant morning to everyone, especially our farmers in the field. We know you're working hard. Let me join Mr. Thomas and the others by saying and expressing our sympathies to those who have suffered loss, and even more so those who have suffered loss of life, who lost families during the passage of Hurricane Maria. We sympathize with you. The Pack House says, as every other institution would have suffered its fair share of damages. In Portsmouth, we consider it to be more minor than in Roseau. We sustained significant amount of damages to some of our buildings, more so to what we call the citrus packing plant, where we lost about 80%, or at least 80% of our roof, and to our main packhouse facility about 20% of our roof. We were also heavily impacted by our production support program. All right, we've been in the process of contracting farmers on a scheduled basis that we can supply the markets and our clients, the exporters, the hucksters. So we had a program, and we still continue that program, where we contract farmers for plantain, dashing, hot peppers, yams, and sweet potatoes. We're also looking at some cucumbers, which we started with the Ministry of Agriculture. We can report that 100% of our plantains were destroyed, along with hot peppers and yams. Dashing, we were able to salvage some of that. After about 2 to 3 weeks of the passage of the hurricane, we were able to do a major export to the US, where we received from farmers about 23,000 pounds. We did initial assessment of the fields, and we recognized we had about 50,000 pounds of dashing, which were available for export. So something had to be done, because it would have been too much for our local consumption. We therefore also provided some to the national relief, because we cannot send food out while our people are suffering. So we did make a contribution towards relief as well. From there, we've been really looking at strategizing as to how we get ourselves back to full operation. So we've been looking at a short-term plan, a medium-term, and a long-term. Short-term, we would focus really on regional export, because the volumes that we have currently wouldn't warrant extra regional to the US or the UK. So we are mainly looking at the French territories, where we've been exporting mainly dashing, some ginger, coconuts. Most of the coconuts would have been affected, and the farms. So what we're trying to do really is to salvage what's on the ground and make the best use of it. For our farmers, we've not stopped our program under the production support program. We've continued with the contracting of farmers for dashing, plantains, yams, sweet potatoes. And for the cucumber program, what we did, in keeping with the call of the Prime Minister, what we did, we had some seeds on our hands, so we quickly distributed to the farmers so that they can have some form of quick revenue. It's a 6 weeks crop, so by now some of the farmers are already reaping some of the cucumbers that we've provided to them. We've gotten assessments for damages for Portsmouth. So as I said, it's minor damages. We're just looking about $16,000 thereabout to maybe get it back up and running, although the operation there is happening, but the majority of the facility is still used for relief operations. So we do want to commend the staff for understanding and working with the relief team, because right now they're processing outside of the facility just to accommodate the operation on the inside. For Roseau, we basically doing the same. We've made a makeshift covering for our operation, and It was very challenging, especially for the US shipment. At one point, we lost water, which was critical to our operation. We knew first out we didn't have electricity, so we had to program ourselves to work up to maybe 8 o'clock, but we had to go on up to about 10 o'clock using lights from motor vehicle and forklift just to process the dash it. All right. So we are in the process of restoring electricity. We thankfully have a generator that we're able to install, and all this was part of the CDF funding program. Medium term, we are gathering information on the regional markets. So we're hoping that sometime next week, early next week, we can announce a date for meetings with exporters so that we can hear from them, take recommendations as to the way forward. We also were able to secure some funding from a friendly agency, Propel, and they would be in Dominica, I think, next week to have a press briefing or release. So we'll speak more to that, but we're looking to provide some tangible support to some of our farmers, especially those who have been contributing towards our program in terms of sales. Okay. What we are looking to do in the medium term as well is to assist in the white potato production. The Ministry of Agriculture is currently distributing seeds, and Propel is also going to bring in another 20-foot container of seeds today. So the season is really upon us, and we recognize that a lot of farmers have lost maybe their storage ability or facilities. So what we're trying to do is to see how we can assist in the post-harvest, so we may look at the strategy to purchase from farmers and help with sales and distribution as well. Also, some of the wholesalers would have suffered their ability to buy in bulk, so we're looking to bridge that gap, hopefully working with Propel, the Ministry of Agriculture. Long term, we've already started the discussion as to the best way forward. It will take some planning and further discussion and approval, because our aim is to see how we can have the pack houses to a state where they can obtain international certification, and we have to look seriously at the facilities, and in the view of building back better, we have to look at what direction we need to take, especially for the Roseau pack house, knowing that if we have to engage farmers on any serious production program, the regional market won't be able to sustain our production. So that's some of the things we have to look at long term. In the interim, we just want to thank the staff for sticking to the task and giving all the support to management. So we do appreciate your effort, and also the ministry. We want to thank you for even this opportunity to share some of our activities with you. Thank you.